Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the Different Panels podcast. I am your host, Adam. Alongside with me today are Stephen and Carol. Absence of Andrew for reasons unknown. We'll just keep it at that. On this today's episode, we're going to talk about the biggest news that has come out in the past week. Everything that has happened with the Sony hacks. So much to talk about here. Just a little quick synopsis of what happened. Because of a movie that is coming out on Christmas, The Interview, which is about two reporters that try to kill the leader of North Korea, a lot of Korean supporters and Korea themselves have hacked into Sony's network to get release everything that Sony's been working on for the next few years. And one of the big things that came out of it was their involvement with Disney and Marvel Studios with Spider-Man. There is so much to talk about when it comes to this. It is blown out beyond proportion. The main thing though is that Sony and Marvel are working together to create a new Spider-Man trilogy to take place into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as well as some of the cinematic Marvel characters showing up in some of the Spider-Man movies, which are going to be rebooted yet again. I we can start at any point. So whoever wants to go, shoot here.
I'll
What is your
start.
take on all of this?
They're idiots because I think that they feel that if if they restart the Spider-Man franchise, that people will want to watch it more. No, I feel that at least for me, why would I go waste money on this if they're going to just restart it in another few years? None of this matters at all.
The plan that Sony wants to do is they want to sort of take a James Bond approach, where after a certain amount of movies, we are going to be introduced to a new Spider-Man taking the reins. As of right now, what they're looking at is they want Ryan Gosling to be their new Spider-Man because Andrew Garfield's going to be taken off of the project, which is upsetting because there's a lot of people out there that really think he did an amazing job. I do as well. And it's interesting because Ryan Gosling was one of the people that DC wanted as Joker. So once again, it's Marvel and DC fighting over who they get. But what's your take? Do we need another Spider-Man? Should everything just stay the way it is? Should they just have Andrew Garfield show up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? What's the deal here, well, Steven?
If they're really serious about doing the stupidity of having Spider-Man turn up in the Marvel universe, okay, I'll retract the stupidity bit. It's more complicated than that. But anyway, if they intend on doing that, then I see no reason to get rid of Garfield. I personally haven't seen the new Spider-Man movies because I'm not a fan of Spider-Man as a character. But look, if you're gonna use him, keep the same guy. We've already had Tobey Maguire like 10 years ago, whatever, for those three movies. We've had Andrew Garfield for these two movies. If you have another person in that span of time, it's just going to confuse people and it's going to annoy people that like Garfield or annoy people that like consistency. And apparently Garfield was good at it. So why they're getting rid of him? I have no idea. Did he piss someone off? Or what?
Well, the issue is the contracts. If Sony allows Spider-Man to go over to Marvel, it'll be a completely different Spider-Man because of a contract issue. Because of that, that's why they're going to go in this new James Bond styled approach where there's a new Spider-Man introduced. So Garfield will be out, whoever new will be in, and then whichever Spider-Man the Marvel Cinematic Universe gets will either be a completely new Spider-Man or will be whoever is part of this new Spider-Man movie franchise. It's very confusing, that's for sure. Carol.
I just feel that I don't get the whole contract thing because they're gonna get let go over it, let them get right, and they just terminate the contract.
I think what they want to do is they don't want. Sony is okay, I guess, working with Marvel now to get it involved, but they still want complete rights, and I think they don't want Andrew Garfield to go over there because technically he was Sony's guy. So they're trying to reboot the entire thing again, but without trying to retell the origin story. The plan is it's supposed to be an older Spider-Man that takes place a few years later, where he has a kid and he's married to Mary Jane, I guess, because well, we saw what happened with Gwen, and the villain will be Craven.
I have a person who I think could play it that isn't Ryan Gosling, and it might be the fact that I'm a big fan of him, and I've recently watched the old series. Daniel Radcliffe.
If you're going with an older Spider-Man, you can't pick Daniel Radcliffe.
Why?
Because
By a few years later means a few years after he's a teenager and out of high school. That's only like 24, 25.
If they're looking for people like Ryan Gosling, they're looking for a little bit older than Daniel Radcliffe.
and taller.
Hey.
Well, actually, isn't Ryan Gosling tiny?
Wait, really?
I don't know. Another big thing though is one of the directors, two of the directors that they actually have in talks to be part of this new Spider-Man franchise. One of them is Edgar Wright, who was just recently attached to Ant-Man for 6 years and left, and the current director of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, James Gunn. I don't know how that's gonna work, but yet again, it's Marvel trying to just. I guess Sony is not just trying to take away from DC, but Marvel itself. Here, I mean,
Or
it's
maybe
it's
they just want people that they think will do a good job.
or maybe it's Sony finally coming to terms that they want to be part of the cinematic universe. Yet I don't know how that's going to work because they still want complete control of the copyrights.
They want their cake and they want to have their cake and eat it. They want to have the popularity and they want to ride the coattails of Marvel Studios by being part of their universe, but then they want to turn around and say, no, we still want to have the rights, we still want to do our own thing as well, but we're just going to leech off your popularity, don't mind us.
Well, from what we've seen though, yes, the Spider-Man movies have made money, but it's the backlash that they sort of get afterwards. Most of them are mixed. Is it? Here's a better question though. Is it time for Sony to just give up Spider-Man and let Marvel and Disney take it completely and just have Sony
I think
something else?
it's time to not to give up on Spider-Man, but take a few years off of it. Because it's not that it's the same Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's been a main thing for years, for over a decade now. And then, like, other things, like, one thing that I'll give Batman credit for is that when they do it, they may have a backstory, but at least they do the backstory somewhat different most of the times. Because the thing about, because Steven hasn't seen it, with Amazing Spider-Man, it's basically the same backstory without Mary Jane and all that. And they added his parents a little bit, but Uncle Ben dies, not the same way at least, but he still dies and all that. It feels just like the same story.
I think what people are really getting tired of is the origin stories. That's for sure.
Well,
By the looks of it, with this new idea, is that it's not going to be an origin story, but we're just gonna watch Spider-Man progressively get older in his later years. Who wants to see that as a Spider-Man movie?
well, it's different at least. At least they're not going to retread the same ground they've already done
Isn't
twice.
that what they're doing with Ben Affleck's Batman?
But for Batman, it makes sense
Why?
because we've already seen it. Because the comic books, we've already seen an older Batman. We've never really seen an older Spider-Man do Spider-Man stuff.
Well, maybe that's a good thing.
But the only time we ever saw an older Spider-Man is when he was fathering his daughter, Spider-Girl. But he was never flying around as like a 40-year-old guy doing Spider-Man stuff.
Maybe that's good to show him if that's a new thing that people have never seen before.
It would be interesting to watch. I don't have faith in Sony, because every time they get something right with Spider-Man, they take 10,000 steps back and they shove everything in at once. But they did exactly what they did to Spider-Man 3, but they did it to Spider-Man 2. Let's have 5-10 villains in a movie and have them all underdeveloped.
It wasn't that many.
It was it's an exaggeration.
It was like 3 villains in Spider-Man 2.
Well, no, because you had Electro, and you had this Green Goblin, whatever.
And then you had Rhino.
And you had Rhino, but then you had the appearance of Norman Osborn, and you had the Big Man.
But Norman Osborn wasn't even a villain in it.
But that's the issue. Why have him in it?
Set up for Green Goblin.
Nobody wants to see Norman Osborn for like 2 minutes and then he pretty much dies, and then Harry takes over.
I still
And
find that
also,
weird.
but that's a different story for a different day. We can talk about Spider-Man 2 on another occasion. Another thing that has also come out from Sony is they don't just want to reboot the series, sort of reboot the series, making it a different direction. They also want to create a new animated comedy Spider-Man movie with the directors of the Lego movie and I forget what else they've. Oh, and 22 and 21 Jump Street. Would you be all for an animated Spider-Man comedy movie?
Well, they're doing that with Batman. Because
Well, they're
Batman's
making a
getting his own.
Lego Batman. They're
Yeah,
making
but
a
that's
Lego.
I mean, it might be weird for the fact that there's already going to be a movie out there, so what? They probably reboot it anyway, so why does it matter?
Would you be for it though? Would you be like, yeah, I go see an animated Spider-Man movie?
There's so many superhero movies coming out that I think Steve will agree with me, we're going to be burnt out after a year or 2 years.
It's all going to collapse in on itself. But here's the thing: the whole animated Spider-Man thing. They've already got Ultimate Spider-Man on Disney
Which
XD
is
or whatever.
being canceled.
Good, it's terrible. I gave that. Didn't they cancel Spectacular Spider-Man for that nonsense?
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Spectacular Spider-Man was
They're
actually.
going to be rebooting a new Spider-Man animated
Of
series.
course they are. Why wouldn't they?
Well, we're also supposed to be getting a Big Hero 6 animated TV show and
Oh
a
Lord.
possible Guardians of the Galaxy TV show.
I think this is a very
There already is a
serious.
Guardians of the Galaxy TV show.
There's going to be a. Wait,
There
has it
is?
started yet?
It's almost about the. No, I think it's already started.
Oh, well, then look at that. Anyway,
I,
I don't know. I don't think it's necessary to have an animated Spider-Man movie.
it's just going to be
I don't
another.
think it's necessary to have an animated Lego Batman movie either, but
It's going to be
Well,
another
Batman,
movie to add to all the other stockpiled freaking superhero movies that are going to be coming out in the next few years, and it's all going to collapse in on itself like a black hole.
now
Oh,
let's just go over some of the other points that were also revealed. Sony wants Sam Raimi back as the director for the older Spider-Man movie. I'd be okay with that. I thought he did a great job.
yeah.
I'm not a fan
I
of
think
yeah.
Raimi knows how to make a comic book movie look like a comic book movie because
I feel that
regardless of how Spider-Man 3 was, they all looked good, and Raimi's a good director.
I feel that the whole Spider-Man series in general, the last one is really overrated. But I keep
Wait, which
on
Most
one?
of it isn't. Most of it isn't
the
Raimi's.
original. I just think that the original one's overrated a lot.
Uh, Two other things that were also made clear. Uh, we're still possibly going to be getting our Spider-Man Sinister Six movie, but now it's being slated as a Spider-Man Sinister Six team-up movie in which Venom and/or Carnage will be the villain of. What do you think about that clusterfuck? Anybody
Why?
go?
Why?
Do they know what they're doing?
It's Sony. Have they ever known what they were doing with Spider-Man?
Maybe they see what's happening with the Suicide Squad and they're like, hey, maybe we can do something like that.
Well, they're
They
probably
announced
seeing
it
the
for.
success of. Well, I think every company is pretty much realizing the success of what Guardians had, and they want to do their own ragtag misfit type deal. But it's the Sinister Six.
Didn't they announce the Sinister Six before Guardians came out?
Yeah, but now they're changing up the
but I mean,
premise.
what came out first? I mean, what was known? What was seen? It's just a Sinister Six team up with Spider-Man to fight Carnage and or Venom. It makes no sense. Why are the Sinister Six going to help Spider-Man?
That would mean there would basically be 7 main characters then.
It would be 8 characters in one movie. Added on, there's probably going to be because they've already talked about Black Cat being involved somehow.
Oh dear lord!
And then you added Aunt May, who is also slated to get her own solo movie.
No, they debunked, but
They did, thank God.
yeah. Well, at least Sony said that they weren't going to do it. Then again,
I mean,
companies.
that's a lot of characters to put in one movie. A lot of characters that have no development.
To be fair, isn't that what Suicide Squad is going to be doing with a lot of characters? You have the whole team, which is how many people in the team? Like 5?
Well, the thing with the Suicide Squad is that they're going to develop the characters in the movie. This is an entire team of the Sinister Six that
Well,
you're going to
no,
have
that,
to you have to develop, and then Spider-Man shows up, and then Carnage and Venom show up. And
but
it's a
it's the
little bit
same.
too much.
It's the same thing in the Suicide Squad, Adam, because
I
you're
mean, you
getting
could say it's the same thing for Guardians of the Galaxy, but they worked out for them.
See, I would disagree. I would disagree somewhat with that because I think Suicide Squad, the characters have more like stereotypical like character positions they can fill.
The only people that they're going to
then
have to
you
worry
get
about is
Joker, then you get Joker,
okay,
then you
look at this.
get that.
Amanda Waller is, organized. She's basically more immoral with Nick Fury. Freaking Rick Flag is the leader, the good guy, the guy that keeps people on the straight and narrow. Deadshot, the cocky, abrasive, sure of himself, witty
doesn't
guy.
care. He knows he has a death wish.
Say Harley, crazy chick. Joker, everybody knows Joker.
Yeah.
And Captain Boomerang is
And then you have Enchantress. All right, cool.
Magic
So
Girl.
most of the characters for the Suicide Squad don't need a lot of development to get attached to them. The only ones that they're gonna really have to develop are this new Joker and probably Harley and Deadshot because they're probably gonna be the main focal point. With
Then you
Sinister
have
Six, you have to
Batman.
deal with Doc Ock and the Vulture and Rhino. And I have no idea who else is going to be part of this
Elektra.
team. Probably Goblin and Lizard and I don't know because I thought Electro would be in it, but he's dead.
Where he is.
He blew up.
Spoilers.
Yeah, oh,
God damn it.
well, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it
Well,
yet.
but isn't this gonna? It wouldn't have been a reboot if they do this now because
Well, no. Now this is going to take place whenever this new era takes place, so it's still technically all right. So they want it to take place in the same Spider-Man universe that Sony has created, just a few years later.
And didn't you say earlier that they wanted Captain America for it?
Oh yes. So they want Captain America to have because if Sony lets Spider-Man show up and do this new trilogy with Marvel and appear in Civil War, in return they want Captain America to show up in the Sinister Six film.
How does
That's
that even,
9 characters now.
how would that
Nine.
even work? Like, would the universes
so-
combine, or
I guess, like I said, Sony wants to somehow be a part of the cinematic universe, but not be with Disney and Marvel Studios, but be part of Studios. It's confusing as all hell. I know it's baffling. I don't understand. Literally, Sony is doing whatever they can to just stay alive. They don't want to lose Spider-Man. That's all they have left. I mean,
well, they've got James Bond apparently.
that's cool for James Bond, but they want Spider. I mean, here's the thing. I think it's pretty obvious for studios nowadays. Comic book movies are the new hip thing. Every studio wants to be attached to a comic book movie, and Sony doesn't want to give up that right because they know as soon as they fall, Marvel and Disney will be easily able to buy it out, and they're going to do whatever they can to keep Spider-Man. That's their kid. That's their child. The head of Sony, though, is at the point where he's like, you know what? Maybe it's time to just let them take over. But everybody else in Sony is pretty much like, no, we can't have that happen because then what happens to us? I'm sorry, you might be making money, but your movies aren't doing very well.
Well, that
You're
doesn't
shoved-
matter.
So the issue you had with Spider-Man 3 is you shoved so much into it that you made the director leave. And now you want him to come back and do it all over again? You know, it's just too much to add into it all. It's baffling how this is going to turn out. Carol?
I just think that they need to give it up or stop with Spider-Man for a little bit.
Well,
I just,
if they, I don't see. Look, it would be nice if they gave it up, but at the same time, you say the movie's been sort of received backlash, but they're still making money, and yeah, it's not a lot. I mean, okay, it is a lot in normal terms. It's not like $1 billion, but it's still like 700 million or whatever it was for Amazing Spider-Man 2. That's good.
Do you think after all of this has been revealed, though, that it's going to keep fans invested?
No.
I
Unless
feel
people
like
want to see what the train
I
wrecks
think
can be.
fans are going to be more invested now that he might be part of the Avengers more than his own shit. Because that's what everybody really wants is they just want to see him show up in the cinematic universe for Marvel.
I don't.
I
I don't
I
know. I
think
don't see.
maybe he showed up once, maybe twice, but a trilogy. I mean, the only good thing that would come out of the trilogy is once again it won't be a backstory.
Yeah, Spider-Man's one of those characters we
He's
don't know.
just gonna pick up and take the ball running where we left off, which is the only somewhat good thing about it.
But
But
if they want to do, Adam, you kind of have an echo there.
give me a second.
Okay.
Continue.
Well, if they, I see. Again, they want to have their cake and eat it. They want to do a reboot, but they want to keep the same stuff from beforehand. How does that work? I- How
Sony is very confused right now. Put it that way.
there's like Carol said, they're so desperate to hang on to Spider-Man and do whatever they can to make sure it's a success that they've thrown logic out. No, they put logic beside a window, took a shotgun, shot it right next to the head, flew down 15 stories, and made a pizza on the freaking sidewalk. That's
Well,
all
the
terrible.
other the plan here is, from what I'm reading, is it's. Geez, that's interesting. A little article making clear here. Another side of the Spider-Man that might be interesting to explore in a reboot, this is what they were talking about, is seeing him as an adult. Spider-Man has remained an age of a teenager for over 52 years. He's moving in with his girlfriend, got married, and in some storylines has even become a science teacher in high school. Uh, I'd be okay with all of this. It's just and also if they go this route, he's in Civil War. Are they gonna? You're gonna hate this, Stephen.
No, don't you dare.
Are they gonna have to go the route of one more day?
No,
Because he has to reveal himself in that.
no.
Or or is this how Craven is introduced? Spider-Man reveals himself, and now Craven is on the hunt to kill Peter Parker.
So, on top of everything, on top of Iron Man and Captain America fighting each other, on top of all that bullcrap, we're gonna have Mr. Craven that nobody's heard of outside of comic books, freaking chasing Spider-Man, who suddenly magically appeared in the Marvel Universe and is important enough that he can reveal his identity and it be a big thing. And this is all gonna happen.
And they also want Spider-Man to be juggling around adult issues.
I want to punch someone.
I I don't understand. Why doesn't Sony just give up the right?
Because it's still making the money. That's why.
After everybody is pretty much seeing everything here, you really think they're still gonna make all that money?
I don't know.
This sounds like the clusterfuck of all clusterfucks. A Sinister Six movie in which the Sinister Six and Spider-Man team up to take on Carnage and Venom while Captain America shows up. That sounds like a fanfic you hear on like Reddit. That's not something you hear for a movie. That's something you hear on Reddit because some guy was like, this sounds cool. I'm gonna write about it. Hell, I don't even think that would work in a comic book. Carol.
I zoned out.
Congratulations.
Exactly. That's exactly how everyone does this. Is you just zone out.
Because you're saying a lot of stuff.
Okay. Last two questions about the Sony stuff, and we'll move on to another situation that happened with the Sony
Oh,
hacking.
God.
Oh, dear Lord.
Can we just end this?
No, we must
Do
persevere.
we have any? Okay, here's the last question. Do we have any faith in Sony?
No.
All right, plain and simple. Let's go. Here we go. This is the last question. Do we want more Spider-Man? Whether or not it's in the cinematic, whether or not it's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. All right, so I think that's a no from Steve, and Carol, I take it's a no from you too.
I know.
All right, then there we go. We'll keep up to date if anything new comes out, because it seems like every day there's going to be new hacks, and the hackers have a surprise for Christmas. So Who knows? Maybe it'll be more stuff about Spider-Man.
I hope not.
But let's move on to the next issue with Sony. So, on top of Spider-Man, Sony is in talks of working with Fox to make a X-Men and Fantastic Four crossover movie. There isn't a lot of detail about this one, but that's pretty much the bare minimum of it all.
Why?
Nobody wants this.
It reeks of desperation.
Are they that not, are they that afraid that the Fantastic Four is going to fuck up this much that they need to bring in the X-Men?
Okay, we've all heard of what's going on with that movie. We've heard about Doctor Doom. We've heard how they get their powers. We've heard just the nonsense coming out from that movie. It's the movie. They don't want it. From what I've heard, it's clear they don't want to be a comic book movie, despite the fact they're being so desperate to keep hold of the rights of a comic book, which is
they're completely rooting the entire mythos of the Fantastic Four. I don't think it's. I think the movie should have gotten canceled because of what it's turning out to be. It's not worth it. But geez, another clusterfuck. Does Sony not understand that it fucks up anytime it throws this much shit at the screen at once? Also, why are they even going to connect? Why is the Fantastic Four going to show up with the X-Men? Like, what? What? I don't... What? It's all hell. Carol, give your opinion.
Again, so that, because I'm just... The Fantastic Four thing you said, I just think they've already announced that they're going to do a sequel of it, so they must have some little faith. I like some of the actors in it, because I think we talked about it this last week.
Yeah.
But it's just that they're just trying to do...
Great.
They're just trying to do anything they possibly can to just get some relevance. But my question is, which X-Men team would it be?
It would be what we have now. It'll be whatever is post-apocalyptic.
Well, how would that make sense? That's different time periods.
Once again, does any of this make sense?
So what would they do? Would they do a, like... I'm just... My brain...
Fantastic Four, Days of Future Past. There you go.
Well, they could go through the negative universe, whatever gives them their powers. They get lost in there, and then they turn up in the X-Men universe because done.
It's not needed. It's completely unnecessary.
Well, Sony need it.
I think Sony's literally hanging on by a hook like a little fish, and they just don't want to let go. That's all they are. Is they're just this little fish that's hanging on to the last bit of life they have just to keep themselves afloat. They have James Bond. That's good enough, right?
Well, they don't just want to have James Bond. They want to have other properties that they think can give them.
But now, not only are they gonna, they're looking desperate as all hell because now they're asking for Fox to help them.
Well, you know, sometimes you have to.
They're going out of their way to ask Fox. They're going out of their way to ask Disney. Now they have no faith in themselves. If you have no faith in yourself, why have the rights?
Because
they
money.
They don't admit that they're wrong. Egos.
I think after all the hacking stuff, they should probably admit by now that they're wrong. And I think, like I said, the head is pretty much at the point where he's making it pretty clear. Yeah, we screwed up, and I don't think we should continue. But everybody else is like, no, we need it. We need money. We're greedy. We don't care about what the fans want. We care about what we get.
Well, to be fair, they're a business. There are very few businesses on this planet that give a crap what their customers want. They care about money.
Disney's doing with it. Kevin Feige is the man. He knows what the fans want in a movie, and he reveals it, and he gives it to us, and he knows what we want. Sony, on the other hand, they're not listening.
See,
nobody wanted a redo of Spider-Man 3. Well, guess what? We got it in Spider-Man. We got it in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Or made a profit.
Again, you can make a profit all you want, but eventually, when's enough?
Transformers 2 was enough.
People aren't smart enough.
It's
If people still go out to see the Transformers movies,
I don't want to. I don't. Please don't.
if people still go out and buy Call of Duty video games,
Okay, to be fair, the new one actually looks like it might be decent.
Kevin Spacey's in it, and that's enough.
Of
So,
course, it'd be enough for you.
uh, I don't know. Sony is literally at the brink of pretty much just insanity. You know, if they Sony has a potential because the people that they get to do their movies are good people. I thought everybody that was casted in all the Spider-Man movies from uh, the original trilogy up into this new one, especially this new one. Holy shit, was Emma Stone and James Garfield good? Much better than Kirsten Dunst and Tobey Maguire. That's
so
mainly
they actually like each other. Because they actually
yeah,
like
that's
each other,
yeah.
and because they're an actual couple.
Like when I heard Jamie Foxx got cast, and I was like, yeah, and then well, yeah. And I'm like, cool, Dane DeHaan, he's good. Dennis Leary, he's good. Like they got Sally Field and Martin Sheen to play Aunt May and Uncle Ben, good. Like you're getting Paul Giamatti for Rhino, all these good people, but Sony fucks it up in the script. And even Mark Webb is not a bad director. He knows how to direct fucking romance shit. We've seen that with 500 Days of Summer, and goddamn it shows between Mary Jane and I'm not Mary Jane, Gwen Stacy and Peter, because that was the best part of the second movie
Why would
was
they?
their connection.
Why would they hire a romance?
Because they made the movie mostly a romance movie, honestly.
God,
And also, if I'm not mistaken, 500 Days of Summer was a Sony movie.
Yeah.
So why not stay in the same pack? And like I said, with Sam Raimi, he knows how to make a good looking movie, the Evil Dead trilogy and everything. He's good at making a cool looking comic book movie. But it's Sony putting their head in everything. Like I understand that their company gets the final say in what goes on and what doesn't go on. But when you're starting to piss off your director, you're not doing a very good job. You're supposed to have a good connection with the person that you're making the movie with, not go against and go over his head. I just don't think Sony knows how to make a good comic book movie. They're just trying to make a cash grab.
I don't. I think they did at one point.
I thought the first Spider-Man was good, the second Spider-Man was good, a little overrated but good, and then the third one happened. And then I mean, it made a shit ton of money, but look at all the backlash it gets nowadays. Remember Emo Parker?
I gotta go use the restroom. Be right back.
Do we want to talk about Emo Parker?
We don't talk about Emo Park.
Want to talk about the travesty they did to Venom?
We don't talk about that either.
Which, by the way, he wasn't even supposed to be in the movie to begin with. Because Sam Raimi didn't want Venom in it because he doesn't like the character of Venom. He wanted to actually save He wanted to save a symbiote for the fourth movie. He wanted Carnage to be the villain of the fourth movie. But Sony was like, well, the fans want Venom, so put him in it. At last minute, they put Venom in it. Nothing against Topher Grace. The guy's not a bad actor, but he ain't no fucking Eddie Brock.
Why?
And then look what they did with Spider-Man 2. We saw Rhino for like 2 seconds.
I loved how the commercials and all the promo material made it look like he was going to be a big part of the movie.
And then he shows up for like 2 minutes and that's it. Wow! Great, you wasted Paul Giamatti.
Oh, he's got Sinister Six.
Which, yeah, we got Sinister Six. The clusterfuck that's gonna be. Rhino will have like maybe like 3 minutes.
Is that movie actually going to happen?
By the looks of it, if everything is pretty much going the way it's going, yeah.
That's just going to be awful.
Because the only other rumor that's pretty much come out is that there's a chance that the trilogy that they want is either going to take place solely in the cinematic universe or it's going to take place in Sony's universe. That's the only thing that hasn't been concrete and is 50-50 still. If Disney is going to take the rights to the trilogy or is Sony going to take the rights to the trilogy. Either way, both companies will be working with each other, which I think is an issue among all issues because Sony is going to try and go over Disney's head and it ain't going to work.
Do you have confirmation that this is actually going to happen? Because I was under the impression that they were still talking about it.
it's still in talks, but it's every day. It's slowly starting to seem like it's going to happen.
Marvel don't need this. They don't need the trouble. It's,
Hopefully, it does turn out that this is all just a big,
I
you
hope
know,
this is one big
this is
hoax.
yeah. No, I don't think a hoax, but this was
Like,
just all one big conversation that happened on a late Thursday night, and everybody got drunk. I have no problem with Sony letting Marvel use Spider-Man in the Civil War movie, and then maybe having him show up again in Infinity War. But I, I don't want to see any of this happen.
I have a problem with that because it wouldn't make any bloody sense.
Well, it's the Civil War who has a major part in it.
See, he had a major part in the comics. He's not relevant to the Marvel universe. He can't just pop up out of thin air as like, oh hi guys, I'm important enough for me to be a major plot point in this story.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's Spider-Man to us. He's one of the biggest comic book heroes to us.
He's Marvel's Batman.
Uh, what do you mean by that?
He's the poster child.
Oh, okay.
He's their poster child. How, where DC oversaturates Batman most of the time, Marvel oversaturates Spider-Man.
What about that guy with the claws? That died recently.
Well, he's dead now, so.
Yeah, for a couple of weeks.
It's very confusing, and I don't understand why Sony is trying to do this. It's
Well, because they're
do
desperate.
they not understand that this is not what we want? Do they not care about the fans? Marvel surely does. Marvel and Disney care about us.
I'm not sure they do.
What, you don't think Marvel and Disney care about the fans?
I think they care about making money, and if that means pandering to the fans in a way that means it actually helps their movies, and so be it.
Well,
I just have.
said, I don't think Marvel's done wrong yet, except for maybe Iron Man 3.
Really, you think Iron Man 3 was worse than Iron Man 2?
Uh, yeah.
Oh boy.
But
That,
but I mean, look at what we've gotten this year. Winter Soldier was amazing. Guardians of the Galaxy was big dark horse.
I've seen Winter Shorter. Yes, Winter Soldier.
Avengers was great. It's the
No,
third.
I disagree with that a lot.
We'll save that for another day then.
Fine.
But that's pretty much it. That's what we got for Sony. That's what the big news this week was. Is all of the Sony hacking. It's
It's dumb.
it's dumb. It's convoluted. It's oversaturating, and it shouldn't happen. And it's bad. And in the words of Mr. Horace from Ren and Stimpy, I don't like it. So, with that, I don't think we have a lot of time left in today's episode, do we, Steven?
Well, this is very unprofessional, but we're at 38 minutes, so
Good. So we'll talk about one more thing. We'll move over to DC now. So that's good.
oh lord.
As so far, DC hasn't really upset anybody, especially when it comes to TV, and that's what we'll talk about. This week we got confirmation on 3 TV shows. Pretty much, they all got piloted. We got the first one we'll talk about is probably the one I'm the most least excited for. A Gotham-style Superman show called Krypton, which will take place on the Sci-Fi Network, and the whole story behind it is it's going to be about Superman's grandfather.
I'm shaking my head. I'm shaking my head to that nonsense.
Sci-fi
Who's
is a bad
excited?
channel.
Who's excited for Krypton?
Sci-fi is a bad channel, honestly. The production
Anybody want a Krypton, a Superman prequel TV series about Superman growing up on Krypton?
If we can get shark tornadoes in that crap, I'm all for it. Let's go.
Sharknado.
Sharknado, whatever.
Is it? But do we really need a Superman?
It's
What's so special about Krypton?
but if it were me, I would involve the
Already
Lantern
got
Corps.
Smallville.
I would involve the Lantern Corps. I would involve that other planet similar to Krypton that can't remember what they're called now. Think they had orange skin or something. They're really xenophobic. They're in the Green Lantern run. I can't remember. But I'd involve them. I'd involve other alien races if they can stretch the budget, which they probably can't. Which is another
It's sci-fi.
problem.
I don't know if they can.
See, so why set something on an alien planet if you're going to be working on the budget of a shoestring?
Well, the big comeback to that is that Battlestar Galactica did an amazing job.
Yeah, but they were on a spaceship. I mean,
Yeah,
I haven't
that's
watched
true.
it.
I don't think anybody wants a Krypton show. We already got we already got Smallville. Do we need more backstory to Superman as a child watching his grandfather and his father do stuff?
Carroll does.
Krypton.
What?
Carol, what's your take on Krypton?
Like I said, it's not going to be good because of the budget of sci-fi. I think that they looked at Gotham, which, by the way, from what I've heard, 'cause I still haven't watched it except been lazy, has gotten mediocre reviews. So I don't.
We can talk about that at some point.
And then at least Jim Gordon is somewhat a recognizable character, unlike Superman's grandfather. At least to me.
Hey, you never heard of Grandel?
Grandel. So I guess we're all in agreement. No go, don't watch, no needed.
I agree.
All right, then we'll move on to the next show that was pretty much greenlit. We're getting a Supergirl TV show finally. The pilot has been called in, and I think it's supposed to start filming sometime in 2015. It's going to take place on CBS. A lot of people were concerned about about it being part of the Flash and Arrow world. What some people might not know because it goes right over their head. The C in CW stands for CBS.
Huh.
So CBS and Warner Brothers, that's what CW is. We're probably going to get Supergirl involved in our Arrow and Flash universe, which is cool.
Oh dear, no.
Who's excited for a Supergirl TV show?
No.
I'm the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for a Supergirl TV show.
I
might be because I'm a huge advocate for the female comic book characters, and I think Supergirl.
I didn't know that.
I'm a huge advocate for good comic book characters.
You don't like Supergirl?
What's so good?
I think they've done with her. The new 52 universe has really given her.
She's a Red Lantern now. Oh, she's angry all the time. High fucking.
Remember, like what they did with Lobo.
No, let's not talk about that.
But I find Supergirl to be a bland character most of the time, and at the end of the day, we've had Smallville. Smallville was Smallville. We
didn't have Supergirl in Smallville, though.
What different? What are you gonna do different? Oh, she likes boys instead of girls. There you go. Although if she likes girls, I could bring in the viewers.
I'll be intrigued to see how it turns out.
And if they have her in the Arrow and Flash universe, well, there goes Arrow. It's like, Arrow is there shooting arrows, and she just flies by and punches someone into the stratosphere.
True, but hey, it is sort of a possibility that because of this, we might get our TV Justice League.
Well, they could already have they could have Arrow.
Even though I don't think it should be called Justice League, I think they should call it JSA.
They could have Arrow, freaking Arsenal, Wildcat, Black Canary, Flash, Vibe, Killer,
Firestorm, Atom.
Yeah, Atom. I'm sure I'm forgetting.
Atom.
If they actually do something with Diggle, they could have him in there as well.
Diggle's gonna die soon.
He's not gonna die. Screw your couch.
But and then so I'm the only one that's in favor for a Supergirl show. The two of you are. The last show that we're gonna talk about, that we'll talk about, is the one that I'm most excited for. We're getting a Teen Titans live-action TV show called Titans, just called Titans. Jeff Johns made this clear on Twitter, of all things. Some guy asked him on Twitter, hey, Teen Titans TV show. And then Jeff Johns was just like, you know what, whatever, I'll just tell him what's going on, which is awesome. We're getting a live-action Teen Titans TV show. It's going to start filming in 2015, and it's going to focus on Dick Grayson becoming Nightwing after leaving Batman, and the only two characters besides Nightwing that are confirmed are Starfire and Raven. I'm fucking pumped for this shit.
I don't think
Nightwing's my favorite male. not female. My favorite male comic book character. I think Nightwing is so overdue for a live action interpretation, and he's an extremely popular character. A lot of
I
people were
don't.
upset after he left to do the Grayson stuff in the comics, so I'm fucking pumped.
I don't think that. What's that? That Cyborg's gonna be in it because of the whole movie situation. Which I don't.
Well,
Fuck
if
it.
you think about it, we are getting two Flashes. We could get two Cyborgs.
Yeah, but I think they want to portray Cyborg as being in the big leagues rather than.
Who would you put that in? What would your Teen Titans team be? Carol. We already have our two females. We have our leader. Who would be?
And
I would
Beast
think they're
Boy.
going to do at least 5 characters. I would say Beast Boy and probably Kid Flash, or Superboy.
Superboy.
Isn't Beast Boy a bit heavy, special effects heavy?
Well, they're on
they
TNT.
I mean, TNT does have a pretty decent budget to do things. And with how CGI goes nowadays, I bet they could do it. But they need that comic relief character, and I think Beast Boy would be somebody that people would like to see. And there's not that many other characters they can do because Speedy is in Arrow. I'm not calling him Arsenal.
He's Arsenal.
They could do Kid Flash, they could do Superboy, but then it's like, well, you already got Flash, and if we're getting a Supergirl, Superboy, they could do Impulse,
Well, just basically Kid Flash.
or I'm running out of characters here.
Well, what about
Or who
Wonder
knows,
Girl?
maybe do we want an entire female group with just Dick Grayson as the helm?
Well, it'll be different.
Or is it like we get Wonder Girl and we get Beast Boy, or we get I don't know.
Raven.
Oh, Aqualad.
I'd be cool with Aqualad.
Aqualad. I
Carl
mean, the
does.
show isn't going to focus more on these guys. It's going to obviously focus more on Dick, which is awesome because, yes, give me Nightwing and I'll take my money. I'm over excited about this beyond belief. I'm really pumped for
I know somebody they could have.
shoot
Jericho.
break
Chris
the walls
Jericho.
down.
Oh my gosh, I knew that was coming. But
Then
is
what
it,
would you say?
is it going to be linked to the other shows?
No, because TNT is not connected.
Because I was going to say maybe they could have Jericho be in it, then that would get Deathstroke to fight them for the first time, and then
That's
the rest
another
is history.
because it's not part of the same universe. Are we going to get two interpretations of Deathstroke, or are they going to go the cartoon route? We're going to get Slade.
Just get Manu Bennett, and I don't care.
Don't get Ron Perlman in it.
I'm
If
sure.
you're gonna get Slade, you get Ron Perlman.
Have you seen the Nightwing TV? I mean,
The web series.
yeah.
It's good. And I think that web series is actually what helped make this happen, actually.
Well, I
Because
don't.
they saw how popular it became.
They could give the guy who played Deathstroke in their tryout.
Would
See
you
why
give
not.
the guy who played Nightwing the role? Or do you think they
No.
should find somebody with a name?
See, I appreciate all the hard work he put into that. I just don't think he was that good.
Now, I know
No
it didn't happen, but my pick would be Daniel Radcliffe. I think he would do great as Dick, but he ain't going to do TV.
He would do it movie version, but
Yeah, they did a movie version. It'd be cool. He's the only person I can think of now.
But reports are that they're gonna have him not even be alive during the Justice League movie.
They
Or-
dare do that.
Well,
No,
you
it's not. It's not that. Jim Gordon's gonna be there. It's gonna be that him and Batman will be on bad terms.
I just want that, like what Adam was saying. I want Night Shot. What? Nightwing. Nightwing. I want Nightwing to get a fair shot.
I think this is amazing for him. I'm so excited to see a Nightwing show.
'Cause the last time we had Nightwing in a movie, it was horrible. And don't you
Wait.
dare bring up Dark Knight Rises, because screw that shit. Okay?
When was the last time Nightwing was in a movie?
Well, he was in, Freeze and Ivy.
That's
That was just
not
Robin. That
right.
wasn't Nightwing. That was just Robin.
I know, but it was basically Nightwing.
I don't
They
know.
did a good interpretation of that. They seem to do good interpretations of Nightwing in animation, so hopefully we can get a good interpretation in the live action world. Because Young Justice was amazing. He did his role in Under the Red Hood was good. His role in Son of Batman was good. Get somebody, just give me somebody. I don't care. Give me somebody that's gonna make this character work, and give me a good story. And if Jeff Johns is 100% behind it, I'm behind it as well. Anybody want to take their take on the Teen Titans show? That they have any other opinions?
No. Oh crap! Oh my hand.
Rock's gonna appear on it because he's on TNT, and
He's busy being Black Adam.
they need to pick somebody to play Shazam. By the way, finally.
There's that. I know this is gonna go off topic. There's some people that think they might have Rock be Shazam and Black Adam. I don't know why.
That's stupid.
But anyway, so all in favor of a Teen Titans show, I take it.
Aye.
Something new.
Would you go now? Here's the thing: would you go the route that a Young Justice is, make it a little dark but have some comedy, or would you make it a half and half type deal? Would it be like the cartoon show?
I would say have it be kind of dark and have at point because even the cartoon show, the original, not that.
Well, this is why I think they would need
Nigga!
see it would be comic relief.
Oh, sorry, Adam. Let me finish what I'm trying to say. Because the new show is garbage, in my opinion. But in the old one, they even had dark points. Like, they had Robin trying to beat Slade and have to do some stuff, join him. Maybe they can have Robin, or not, I say Robin, Nightwing, show how he's dealing being by himself finally and not having Batman to lean on. Maybe Deadshot or Slade, whichever route they go, can have it where he's trying to mentor him and offers a mentorship spot, and Nightwing has to decide if he wants to go that route or go by himself that he told Batman he was going to do.
I'm very excited for it. I would love to see the whole Red X story in a Teen Titans show. I'd be cool if they brought Tara into it.
Oh, you're talking about
Terrorizing?
Wow.
Oh, God.
But so Steven, final thoughts on the Teen Titans on all three shows. Good. Is it good that we're getting more DC comic shows? You think it's oversaturated?
It's oversaturation because look at this. We're gonna have Agents of Shield, Agent of whatever the hell that card is.
Only a 10-part miniseries.
It's still another thing to add to the list. We're gonna get Cage. We're gonna get Iron Fist. We're gonna get Jessica Jones. Whatever. No.
Daredevil.
We're getting Daredevil as well. We're getting Krypton.
Well, at least
Titan.
that's going to be like just a season thing, and isn't that going to transfer into the Marvel?
Each one is going to get their own season, and then they're all going to combine into the Defenders.
Sure.
But isn't that going to go into the cinematic universe?
It's going to probably have a part in the Infinity War.
Every extra TV show, whether it's on Netflix, whether it's going to be a season or whatever, is another one that's going to divide attention from all the others, and it's just it's going to reach a point, and I would say 2016, 2017, where people are going to go, you know what, there's too much of this shit. And it's going to come, and for some reason Marvel and DC and Sony and Fox cannot see it, apparently. I mean, I'm really hyped for the Teen Titans show. I'm not hyped for either Krypton or Supergirl, especially Krypton, that's not needed at all. But, what you can do.
We already know that Constantine pretty much looks like it's on the chopping block.
I'm disappointed about that.
But, Carol, final thoughts?
Why do you always ask me first? I just want it to be done.
He asked me first.
He said, oh, well. I just think that it's oversaturated, and I told Steven this too, and I won't steal my talk.
Oh, we were talking about this together. Don't even track it.
I just think that by 2017, the movies are going to fail, and then they're going to be like, too much. I'm basically going to copy what Steven said, so done.
With that being said, that's all we have for this week. Well, there's probably going to be more next week. I hope we don't have to talk about Sony again, because I don't want to. But I'm your host, Adam, for Steven and Carol. Excelsior, viewers!